Okay, this is my WE G18C fully automatic airsoft pistol. Straight out of the box, I had two issues that caused it to not fire correctly. The first issue I had was that you would be shooting normally and then it would just stop responding to the trigger pull, even with fully gassed up mag and rounds in. So not firing at all, which was bad enough, but then as you took your finger off the trigger and then went and handled it in some other way, going to holster it or passing it to a friend to see if they could see what was wrong, it would just fire off a shot randomly as it was handled on there. Once I fixed that issue, the next issue I had was that it would always fire on full auto, even when the selector was set to single shot. I've seen both of those issues raised on the internet by other people, but without appropriate solutions. So this video is to show you what went wrong and how I fixed it. As part of that, we'll be discussing a lot more about how that hammer mechanism works in the Glocks, because it took me a few days to work it out. I'm no gun tech, but I couldn't find the information I needed on the internet, so I thought this video would be helpful. Now, normally, if you've got a problem with a brand new gun, your best bet is to just take it back to where you bought it from, and they'll either fix it or replace it for you. But of course, this isn't a normal year. This is a COVID year, and I was unfortunate enough that during one of the lockdowns, somebody broke in and stole all of my airsoft guns and my son's airsoft guns as well. So I needed to get some replacements at relatively short notice. And although my local airsoft shop was closed, the owner there was kind enough to arrange to get some replacements shipped straight from the wholesaler to me. So a big thank you to Steph at UK Airsoft. They've got shops in Sheffield and Nottingham, and they run a woodland site, Skirmish Airsoft, in Mansfield. So I really appreciate you helping me out with these guns. And I say I got quite a fair few back, and most of them were fine. Just happened that this one wasn't. That happens occasionally, especially with budget brands like WE. And so normally it would have gone back to UK Airsoft, or in fact they would probably have tested it before I got my hands on it in the first place. But this time round, their shops were still closed because of lockdown. I was not patient enough to wait for them to open, and I thought it'd be a good learning exercise for me, particularly as that issue with it jamming up and then firing off a random shot. I'd had that before on another one of these pistols, only in that case it was so old I just went and got a replacement. So it must be a relatively common problem. So in order to see what was going on, you really need to know what's going on inside of these guns, and these can be quite hard to tell, partly because all of the mechanism is hidden inside the slide. It's a lot easier with other guns to see how they work. You've got something traditional like this revolver. You can see that the hammer comes back against the spring. It's held back by the trigger. You release the trigger, hammer goes forward, the gun goes bang. Right, that's nice and easy to understand. With the self-cocking guns on here, same principle. You pull the hammer back, trigger releases that hammer, only in this case the whole slide comes back as part of the recoil, pushes the hammer back, and you're ready for your next shot. The Glocks, or the ones heavily inspired by the Glocks, are very similar. It's just all of that's hidden away. So in this case, this is your hammer, this thing on a ball bearing here. So if that comes forward, then the gun goes bang. Okay, so that's the hammer, same as you saw on the other guns. It's just tucked away and a lot smaller in here. The trigger is connected via an indirect mechanism, so that comes up through this bar here. You can see the end of the bar up there, but that's actually not what's firing off the hammer. I'll show you that bit in a minute. But the principle is the same, that when you're ready to fire, so in this rack state, all these things have been pressed down, pull the trigger, and that releases the hammer, and then the gun goes bang. To see what's going on inside, here's a trigger mechanism that has come out of the gun, because I did end up replacing all this at one point, but then it turned out I didn't need to, so that's exactly the same as what's inside the pistol. And this bit here is where the trigger is engaging. So that little bar there, pushing this thing back. So your trigger bar has actually got something not dissimilar to the tab of this screwdriver that just pushes it back. It's just a very small thing there. And on the back of that sear, you should see there's a little indent or cut out there, and that's what the hammer latches onto. So as the hammer comes back, try and catch the light, here's the hammer comes back, that will drop down into place there, and that's what holds it in place until we release it with the trigger bar going across. Hammer goes forward, gun goes bang. There are some other bits on here. They're a bit easier to demonstrate back on the gun itself. So the main other bit that works on the fully automatic version, so this one, the 18C, is this full auto sear here. And this full auto sear is just like a little seesaw. It is spring loaded, so it's pulled down on the backhand side, and as you pull the hammer back, you'll hear two clicks. The first one will be the trigger engaging. So let's pull that back a little bit. So that's the trigger engaging. So that's just sitting on the trigger now. In fact, if I release it, you see that go forwards. So the slide comes back again. Let's show you that again. So that's on the trigger. And then watch this bit here quite closely, and you'll see that drop down just a fraction, and then that also latches on. So that's drop down, and that's also holding the hammer back. So now I can release the trigger, and that hammer won't go up anymore because the full auto sear is holding it. And in fact, if I press down on the full auto sear, then the hammer comes back up again. So those two are working together, and in fact when you are operating it as in full auto, it's only really those two that are doing the work, because you've still got your finger on the trigger. So let me show you what would be going on there. So when you first rack it, that is pulling the hammer back, is putting the sear back, and trigger's disengaged, so the trigger sear will be holding that point. And then one important part to note is when the slide's back in its normal resting position, it's actually pushing down on this side of the full auto. So when you're not firing your gun, normally that bit's pressed down there, right? So at this point it's sitting on the trigger like the example I showed you earlier. So you do your first shot, bang, like that. I'm going to keep my finger on the trigger, so the hammer isn't going to be held by the trigger anymore. Slide comes back, pushes the hammer down. That causes the full auto to drop in, but then as the slide comes back far enough, it pushes down on that full auto sear. Gun goes bang again, slide comes back from the recoil, pushes down on that hammer, full auto sear engages, slide comes back far enough, and then that just keeps repeating until you run out of ammo or gas, or take your finger off the trigger. When you take your finger off the trigger, of course, it's sitting on your trigger mechanism instead of on the full auto sear. So why was this a problem, or why was this causing the problem with the intermittent fire? Well, this full auto sear should only take a very small amount of pressure. You can probably see it here. You should be able to just push it down with your finger and it'll activate, even when it's holding that spring. So everything, all that pressure is on there. It's not working with the trigger. The trigger's off, so that's got all the full force of the spring on there, and you should still just be able to push that down with your finger and it should snick out quite easily. In my case, that full auto sear just there was pretty stiff. You could do it with your finger, you could release it with your finger if you pushed really hard, but as you can tell from the scratches on the top, what I'd actually had to do in most cases was to push it down really hard with a screwdriver to release it. And so what happened when the gun was firing was that as the slide came back in there, it wouldn't have quite have pushed that full auto sear down enough. So the full auto sear would be holding the hammer ready to fire off, but it wouldn't actually fire. It's like the slide hadn't come back far enough. But these things, they wag, all right, you can hear that, and that extra movement was enough to cause the full auto sear to engage and give you that random shot when you were going to holster it or pass it to your friend or whatever else was going on. So there's a couple of fixes that you can do for this. The first one is obviously make sure everything's lubricated, so give it a good spray and a good clean. You wouldn't think that was required for something straight from the factory, but sometimes it can be. In this case that didn't help at all. You could take it all apart and put it back together again, make sure that's okay. There's some good teardown videos, disassembly videos on the internet that show you how to take this unit out and put it back together again. Or you could replace just the sear on here, or in fact the whole mechanism, which is what I ended up doing. However, before I replaced the whole mechanism, I had tried just sanding down that sear a little bit. So if you take this unit out, it's actually quite easy to get to that sear. You can just put that pin through, put your finger over the top, stop it from flying out, but that pin will just slide straight out, and then that sear will come out complete with its spring. And then what I did was just to clean that edge off, sand it down just a little bit until I got the right sort of response that I needed on there. You don't want to go too far, otherwise it won't stay engaged, and obviously if you don't take enough off, that won't work either, so be really careful. In my case, I figured I had nothing left to lose because it wasn't working anyway, and I tried everything else. And then to put back together again, you should just be able to line all that up and push the pin back in, and then you've got it back in place. So that goes in, and then you can push back and it will release. That goes in, and then you can push back and it will release. Now that did actually work fine, although I have noticed since I started doing the video it's perhaps a little bit too loose, but that had just led to it firing on full auto even when it was on semi. So when I had a look online to see about this firing full auto on semi issue, the only sort of suggestions I could find was that it might be down to a worn sear. Well, seeing as the rest of the gun was straight out the factory, it didn't seem likely that the rest of it would have been worn. Of course, I'd just taken some sandpaper to this one, and it's a thing called a full auto sear. So because I didn't really understand how this all worked together, I thought I must have screwed it up and decided to replace it. Eventually tracked a replacement unit down. Wasn't expensive, about 30 odd pounds I think it was. Figured that would solve the problem, and it didn't. I still had this problem with it firing on full auto when it was set to single. So let me show you what caused that one now. So you've seen how the rest of this mechanism works here. I keep pressing this one. I haven't really explained why yet, but that's part of the trigger bar. So you saw how it works quite simply on the full auto, which is it's the full auto sear that's doing all of the work here. But if you have a look up in this slide here, you'll see that there's this little bar here that's operated by this selector switch at the back. So if we turn that selector switch round, that bar gets pulled back, and then this channel down here is clear. But if you put it into full auto, then that bar gets pushed forwards, and that's now blocked by that bar there. That bar works with the trigger bar. So on full auto, it doesn't really do anything, just passes by until you rack it all the way back. But in a normal shot, it just passes by there, doesn't do anything because it's in that channel. But in semi, this is doing something else, and it's quite hard to see from the top. It's actually a lot easier to demonstrate with the unit that was taken off. So on here, remember we've got that little tab down here that's part of the trigger mechanism. Just going to release the hammer because it makes it a bit easier to show what's going on. But your trigger bar has actually just got like a little tab. It's not a big chunky thing, it's just like a little tab, a bit like the end of this screwdriver, that comes in here, engages and pulls that back. It's also spring loaded, so it's generally pointing upwards, and then when this bar here comes across and it's hit by that unit there, it pushes down on that bar. You heard it click just then. What's actually happening is, even if you've got your finger still on the trigger, it will push that off. So it'll push it down, so that comes back. Even if you've still got your finger on the trigger, it pushes it down to clear on there. Okay, and then it's ready for the next shot. So I can try and show you that working here. So it's come back, I've still got my finger on the trigger, the slider's come back, it's pushed down on there. You should hear a little click as it goes down, little click, and you actually feel a little bit of pressure in the trigger. And then as I release the full auto sear, the gun no longer engages. Like you saw with the full auto, that would have come back. That's still doing what it always does, but now, because essentially the trigger bar's been pushed off, the trigger's now holding it. Then if I release and pull the trigger, it goes. So the important part here is exactly the same as it would be on full auto, except for this thing's got pushed off. It's almost like I've released my finger off the trigger, but that's been made to happen. So once again, hammer gets pushed all the way back. That happens first. Then that gets pushed down. You hear the click. That's gone down. You feel a little bit of pressure on your trigger finger as well, actually. And then the sear goes down. It won't fire until you release, and then that's your next single shot. So when I was trying to investigate the problem and did all this manually, it all worked fine. Nothing was jammed up. The mechanism was great, but I still had the problem when it all went back together again. Now the issue is that the tolerances on these things are quite high, or quite low if you want to think about it that way. Things have to be quite precise on here, and if you have a look to see when this thing gets activated, it's actually got to go down quite far. So I don't know if you can see the screwdriver here, but we're almost level with the rails by the time, when I've got my finger on it, we're almost level with the rails by the time that activates. You see, not yet, not yet, and there, right at the last minute. So what I found out was that, at least on my gun, it wasn't quite going down far enough. The rail wasn't quite making that go down far enough in order to activate it. So it was like it had never been turned on in the first place, really. So what could I do to fix that? Well, I could have made that bigger. I wasn't quite sure how to do that. I could have replaced the trigger bar, but to be honest, it didn't look worn, so I'm not sure the problem was in the trigger bar. I could have tried to do something with the cam there, put something on top of it, but that is getting hammered every time the slide comes back. I suspect it's probably especially hardened still, so I wasn't quite sure what I could put on that to make that work better. I could have tried to tackle it down at the trigger end. So one other possibility may have been to have tried to sand that down to make it activate a little bit earlier. but there's not very much material there in the first place, so I didn't think that would work. So in the end, what I did was raise that bar, just bring it out higher, because it's the height that matters in this case, and that's quite easy to do. So everything's held on just by this single screw here. So I can take that screw out. It goes through to it goes through to there. In fact, I'm not normally lucky enough that everything drops out, but yeah, it's the only thing that holds everything in there. And then at the bottom here, you see the two washers that are down there. They're not originally there, so what I've done is to take some shims. I had some shims, gearbox shims, kicking around from tinkering around with other things before. They're of course very precise. More importantly, just something I had tried originally with just a little piece of cardboard as a shim, and to be honest, it worked quite well, but obviously wouldn't take the lubrication particularly well. So I've put in a couple of shims, gearbox shims. In fact, I think there's two pairs of 0.2s, so 0.4 and 0.4, just to bring it up, and that just raises that bar enough that it starts activating correctly. So then this all slots back together again, varying degrees of success depending what sort of day I'm having. Sometimes it goes in better forward first and then push the spring in. Sometimes it goes in better the other way. You can take the selector out, which might make it a little bit easier still. Put it onto full auto, that helps as well, because it doesn't put as much pressure onto the bar. Let's push this spring in. There we go, and that's down there. So you notice it's only that spring that's pushing everything back, so make sure everything's quite well lubricated when you put it back together again. So that's slid back in. Now this bar goes in. It will normally click onto that selector, so you might have to push it down a little bit until it does. You hear that snap into place, and then the screw can go in. Rear sight comes back on. As you might be able to tell in the background, it's Sunday and the church bells are going. Extra treat for you. So when that screw goes back in, you don't want to put it in too tightly, partly because it's going into a plastic sight, but more importantly because now we've shimmed it out, it could stop that mechanism from going back properly. So you do want to just double check and make sure that when you put it into single, that goes forwards. That will normally happen without a problem because it's getting pushed forwards by the cam on here, but do make sure that when you go back into full auto it comes back, because that's only that little tiny spring that you saw on that side pushing it back. So if it's too sticky it won't go back, and in that case just edge the screw off just a little tiny amount and you should find that it pops back without making everything loose. So that's how I fixed my problem with it firing on full auto even when it was on semi, and I previously showed you how I fixed the problem with the intermittent firing, as well as trying to explain how that internal firing mechanism works on full auto and semi. I hope that's been helpful for you. As I say, I'm certainly not a gun tech, so take everything I've told you with a little bit of caution. Hopefully if I've got anything dreadfully wrong, some gun tech will no doubtly put something into the comments section. Use at your own risk. I knew that once I opened this up it was my responsibility. Wasn't going to go back to the shop after I put the screwdriver on it, and if I was going in it had to be with the expectation that I could screw stuff up and have to get a new gun. I took that risk when I opened mine up. You need to take that risk when you open yours up, but hopefully you can do it with a little bit more insight about how everything is working. So if it helps you, that's great. Thanks for watching and happy airsofting.